Discover the Fit Dad Community podcast, where every episode strengthens your journey as a father. Hear from experts, coaches, and real dads on balancing fitness, faith, and family. Gain practical tools for your everyday life. Join us to support your family better and build stronger communities. Fit Dad Community Podcast. Fitness for life, not just the gym.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This is our first Fit Dad Community Podcast. This is the first one tonight. So I'm your host. My name is Carl Phillip. I'm the founder of Fit Dad Community. And I also have my co-host, Billy, is also the co-founder of Fit Dad Community. So I know the question is, why we have this show? Why are we doing, right? So obviously what we wanted to create, it came from a conversation between Billy and I, talking about, our daily life, what we do, what we enjoy. And one of the conversation was, man, what we enjoy is being dads, right? And then we started talking, and then we said that, hey, you know what? Why don't we start a Fit Dad Community when we create a platform when dads can get together, be vulnerable and talk about real life story, right? So that's where we started. That's the value. So when you look at the Fit Dad, so it's faith, inclusion, and transparency. So those are the values we go by. So which is bring me to my guest, Tyler. Tyler, thank you for being there tonight. So Tyler, good to see you. I met Tyler for the first time in our first Fit Dad event. And since day one, we clicked. And I was like, man, this guy embodies, what our values are when we're looking at Fit Dad Community. So Tyler is a father, a husband, a dedicated drill sergeant. He's also is a businessman. So, but when you're looking at, what Tyler is, he embodies exactly what we're looking for in our Fit Dad Community. So that's why he's our first guest tonight. So,
and even in the intro, it kind of sounded like Tyler was the background person in that intro. I was like, did he write that?
Yeah, I know. So this is great. So for guests or viewers out there, so hey, this is real stuff. We real dads, real story. No gimmicks. It's not script. We're just having a great time, and we want to share stories. So Tyler, before we get started, so tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and so people get to know who Tyler is.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, feel honored to be your first guest, I guess, on this podcast. Thanks for having me. But like Carl said, my name is Tyler, Katie. I'm 35. I'm a husband, a father of two. I have two little boys. One of them just turned 2, and then I've got an 11-month-old son. So we're very busy in our household right now, just at that stage of life. But I am also a executive project manager for a custom home builder in town, MBN Properties. We build a variety of different sizes of custom homes throughout northeastern Indiana. I'm also a drill sergeant in the United States Army Reserves. I've been in the Army now for about 10 years. So I've got 10 more to go before I can retire there. But yeah, I also volunteer at Pathway Community Church as a young life leader for college kids. And I'm also part of the board of directors for the HBA here in town. So that's just a quick little background, but I'm sure we'll unpack more as we
I'll tell you what, Tyler, I've known you since we played soccer back in high school. We were talking about it. There's a newspaper clip of you totally just taking me down. And I was trying to dig it up just for this podcast, but I'm still looking for it.
We need to find it.
Yeah, but Tyler, seriously, man, I always inspired by you because I see you at OPS with your kids, and you got 2 of them in your arms, just wrangling them through OPS, and I would appreciate you taking charge and keeping your health in check too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's kind of how I got involved with Fit Dad. Obviously, Billy and I know each other from playing travel soccer back in the day. I know he went to Bishop Dwenger. I went to Carroll High School. Did you play for the Fever too?
No, I did not.
Okay. So I played for the Fever, and then actually played with one of his brothers, Danny. I would occasionally play up an age, with their group. But yeah, he had sent me a message saying, "Hey, come check out this Fit Dad community," and we just clicked. And I mean, obviously, then I met Carl, and it's been really fun to get involved with a group of like-minded men and fathers. And work out together on a regular basis. And like you said, just have that faith, inclusion, and transparency in our relationships. So
that's great, man. That's great.
Yeah, this is Tyler, beautiful family, by the way. This is great, man. So
yeah.
I just want
two boys, Rain and Bo, and then that's my beautiful wife, Mallory. So Mallory and I've been married for 4 years now. We've been together for 8 years, but she's from Missouri, and she has moved here, obviously, to she moved here 7 years ago, and it's been awesome getting to just be parents, to our two boys. So we're very blessed.
Man, I know I've got young kids too, and it's tough to get to the gym, work your day, come home, all these different things. And do you find that to be a challenge, daily challenge, or are you overcoming it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think it can be a challenge at times, but my wife and I, we talk a lot about, I guess, like what not only what our passions are, but what our goals are and what foundations, we want to set like for our children, like as they grow up. And one of the big things that we've talked about is, wanting them to see mom and dad prioritize like their fitness. You know what I mean? We don't want it to look like something that, we have to do this. Like, it's like we get to do this. Like, God has blessed us with our bodies and our ability to work out and move. But I could not do what I do at OPS or like go to classes or do workouts, honestly, without my wife, because it takes a village to raise a family. Yeah. But her and I definitely have to be on the same page when it comes to, maybe I'm working out in the morning, maybe she's working out in the evening, maybe we come together and do a workout together and then take the kids to childcare. Because I'll never forget, I think originally when we first found out that we were going to be parents and we had our first son, I was working out in the evenings, and that conversation quickly happened where it was like, hey, I could really use you home, in the evenings for bedtime routine and to help with dinner and do those things. And she's like, how would you feel about switching to mornings? Yeah. And she's like, and I was like, working out at 6 a.m. I was like, that sounds terrible. So I quickly, had to come up with a plan of I'm like, okay, well, let's do a week. Let's start out like just waking up early and doing that and seeing how that goes. And now that's full-fledged been my routine now for almost 2 years, where I'm waking up every morning at 4 a.m. or at least trying to, Monday through Friday, so that I can be at the gym by 5 and work out, because those 3 hours, I feel like between 4 and 7 before the kids get up, it's like that's my time. Mm-hmm. And then everything after 7 is, the kids, my wife, work, people in the military, my other duties or obligations. Like everything after that, people get me during that time from like 7 to 5. And then I come home and then put on daddy cap again, and then it's go time. Yeah.
Dude, I had a thought.
You can shift day to day too. So it just depends.
I had a thought the other day. I was like, having a family is like having your own business too, because you're opening up the business by waking them up, getting them ready, and then you're closing the doors because putting them to bed, everything. You got the full, got the full business going.
Yeah. And sometimes your kids are those unhappy customers that
Yeah, you are correct about that.
Yeah,
tell me about it. Especially when you got to take him to school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're not quite there yet. But,
yeah. All right. You get there. Yeah.
The chauffeur. Yeah. You're the chauffeur then.
Yeah. When you got to take him to school, they don't want to go to school, and you try to play. You good cop, bad cop. I mean, all of the above, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Well, no, and it's I was talking to somebody at the gym about this earlier this evening too, just about like routines and balance. And the one thing that I'm glad that I've realized this, and I've talked to my wife about it too, but it's like our routines are going to change over the next 18 years. You know, so it's like, as much as I am such a routine person and I like to have everything regimented and balanced, you really have to be flexible, because just like everything's working for us right now, I guarantee in 6 months, it could be totally different than what we're doing, you know, day to day right now with both of them, and trying to go to the gym and balance these different things. Cause like you said, school is another thing that we'll navigate when that time comes, or sports.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've got your boys in sports, Billy.
Yeah.
I see your posts.
Yeah.
So,
It's true,
Yeah,
man.
so it's a big deal, you know, especially, even the whole fatherhood thing. It's something that we're learning on the fly. Right?
yes.
So there's no book out there to tell us, hey, this is how you're supposed to be as a dad. So it's something that we navigate through it on a daily basis. And on top of it, you know, especially from both of you guys are former athletes. So, you know, and we, you know, as former athlete, we were like programmed to be a certain way, right? We have to do this, we have to do that, we have to do this, we have to do that. And then when we get the whole fatherhood thing, now it's not about you anymore, right? Mm-hmm. It's about everybody's around you, and then you have to make your schedule around other people. Just like Billy would mention it was just like, it's a business, right? So your business, you depend on everybody else to make sure your business is working. So to create that balance between the fatherhood, because it's easy to be like, man, I'm tired, I don't want to do anything today. Mm-hmm. It's been a long day, I don't want to do it. But I think what is impressive is the fact that you understand, you know, how much fatherhood is to you, but also your fitness, how you balance the two together, because, you know, they go together, right? So, right. So like you said, you want to create that, you know, that lifestyle, you know, and this is great that you mentioned that you and your wife are on the same page when it comes to that. Because I think this is perfect. Like, you know, you guys take turns, you know, go in the morning and in the afternoon. So this is great. So this is a perfect segue to our next topic, which is about discipline and motivation, right? So, you know, Tyler, you have a military background. So how do you instill that discipline in your daily life? You know, especially, you know, being a father, and also talk about your business, how you know, instill that discipline in your daily life.
Sure. It's hard. I feel like discipline is, you know, I mean, you've got to do the things that, you know, you have to do, even when you don't want to do them. And by no means am I like perfect when it comes to that. You know, there's definitely been moments in my life where like I slip and, you know, I get off that path and maybe I'm hitting the snooze button, or I'm sleeping in, or I'm eating the wrong things, or I'm not doing the workouts that I need to do, or I'm just not putting in the work that I know that is going to yield, you know, results, whether it's in the gym or at home. So I feel like it's a conscious effort where I have to take like some time, like even like if I'm driving, you know, in the morning, like to work, to one, like meditate or pray, or be conscious about like how I'm going to approach the day, how I'm going to attack it. Because, you know, I've always believed that proper preparation prevents piss poor performance, the 6 P's, you know? So it's having a plan and then reverse engineering it, and then being able to be like, okay, I'm going to tackle this, and doing it in small steps. So like my wife and I, we were chatting the other day just about our fitness journey and how like we've now made it such a routine, like for us to have that discipline and say like, hey, I'm not going to miss a workout, I'm going to do this. And it's honestly super awesome when your alarm goes off in the morning and your wife hears you hit snooze and she's like, get up. And she's like, you've got to go work out. You know, we had recently done a challenge like this past winter where we were, you know, trying to work out twice a day, every day for 75 days together, you know, doing a workout outdoors, going for walks. And there were days where we did not want to do it, or it was raining. And she would say like, this isn't supposed to be easy. You know, it's supposed to be hard. Right.
Dude, I remember seeing you doing that, you know, 75 hard, and some of your videos were out just in sleet, you know, just like covered up and from head to toe. And you're just like, I gotta get my walk in.
Yeah, no, I think there was one evening too where her and we went out with friends to like the Clyde Theater, and we got home at 11, and she's like, "You haven't gone on your outdoor walk today." And I'm like, "I know." She's like, "Are you going to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I'm going to put my boots on and I'm going to go outside. And then it was just a blizzard outdoors. And I was walking outside for 45 minutes with a headlamp and some snow boots on. So
would you say that like being like a drill sergeant, like helped you with your motivation, your inspiration, your, I guess, getting up at 4 a.m. and all these different things?
I would say that definitely helps. Like me being in the military is something that obviously yields discipline and motivation. But I think that a lot of it had to do with how I was raised. You know, my dad was in the military, and people that would meet my dad, you know, growing up, he was just, he had that military personality, you know, but there were always things that he would instill in me to say, like, you know, like, hey, if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it, you know, and be a man of integrity and follow through with what you're going to say, you know, because I mean, your word is everything. So I feel like it started there. And then especially, you know, going into the athletic background, you know, that we all have, all three of us played soccer, probably some of us had similar coaches, but it's when you look at what you have to do, or at least for me, I look at my family as like my teammates, you know, and you don't want to let your teammates down. And same thing in the military, you've got soldiers that are a part of your unit or a part of your group, and same thing with your employer and your employees. Like I've always looked at everybody in my life, even my friends, like as teammates. Like I approach everything from an athletic background, so to speak, and I don't want to do anything that's going to let the man or woman like to the left and right of me down. So that's like when I think of it that way, it's like, am I doing everything to be the best version of myself today? And am I constantly trying to get 1% better tomorrow? You know, like just having that motivation to consistently improve.
This is great, man. So Tyler, obviously, you know, in the audience, we got different, I mean, even yourself, you're a young dad. So, you know, knowing, you know, what you know now, even though you're still learning. So what kind of advice you would give, like, you know, any inspiring dad and any dads that, you know, that right now they're so early in the process, they say, man, I don't have the time to do that, you know. So what kind of advice that would you give those dads that are struggling right now with, you know, their fitness and that discipline, to get that discipline to motivate themselves?
I would say there's no better time to start than like right now. Because believe it or not, when I started, I guess, my fitness journey, like I had actually like slipped like on my fitness, where I was putting all my priorities into like business and work and that hustle, you know, saying like, hey, I've got to do this. And I pulled it up on my phone because this resonated with me the other day. It literally said, most men will never realize that being busy isn't a badge of honor if you're too busy to be healthy. And that hit home to me, like when I read that, because I was like, wow, like I was so focused on, I need to, you know, work really hard because, you know, we want to build a house, or we want to do this. We want to have all these goals. We want to take trips. We want to have all that. It's like, those things are great, but you shouldn't neglect like the core pillars in your life, like your faith, your fitness, your family. And there were a period of years, like even not too long ago, where I was like neglecting all of those things. And so like when I started slow, I had a goal for myself. Like when I started working out at OPS, there was a challenge. It was like the Stronger Me in 23 challenge, where you told them like, hey, this is what your goal is. And then there was a competition, like who could lose the most like body fat and then gain the most muscle at the end. And then if you won, I think you got like 6 months for free at the gym. And I had been complaining about like my fitness level, knowing that I was literally a new dad, you know, like our son had just been born in January. And believe it or not, my dad was the person that he came up to me and said, hey, like I signed you up for a challenge today. And I go, you did? And he goes, yeah. He goes, and I want you to win it. And I was like, okay. And I was I was a little shocked, but I was like super thankful that he did it, because at the time too, I was like, I mean, I think it was like a $60 enrollment fee. And I was like, being a new dad, I've $60 goes a long way with diapers and other things. So I was like, thank you for doing that. But so long story short, I told myself, I was like, I'm just going to work out 3 days a week. I'm just going to try to show up 3 days a week and work out and do my best. And then I did for the duration of that challenge. And then 3 days, like, started turning into, well, maybe I'll go like a fourth day, or maybe I'll do this. And it was those small challenges that I gave myself, where I didn't try to like just do it all at once. Because I feel like that tends to happen to, like, the New Year's resolutions, like right at the beginning of the year, saying like, hey, I'm going to work out and I'm going to do all of this all at once. When you realize that you don't have to like just take in all that information all at once. Sometimes it's just small, repeatable efforts to lead to big results. It's like a book. There's a book that maybe you guys have heard of that Navy SEAL who says, start every morning by just making your bed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that one challenge, like, to just say, hey, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do it repetitively every day. Like, that sets the tone. And sometimes seeing those small wins just lead to big results. So I would say, like, if you're a new dad and you're trying to, improve your fitness or just make that a priority, I would do it. But then also I would find somebody that can keep you accountable, and just somebody that you know that you can count on to call you out on any BS. But I also feel like fitness should be fun, and finding something that you enjoy doing. So like for me, I love group fitness classes. So like at OPS, we do the build or the shred classes. I've literally only done those classes since I've been a member at that gym. I don't even work out in the main like fitness facility. But then I do CrossFit at Fort Fitness in town as well. And I don't know, that's fun for me to do those types of classes. So I feel like when you find fitness and then you find something that you actually enjoy doing, you're actually more inclined to want to come back and continue to do that.
Well, and also I will add, I know you did that Fort Fitness, what's that workout you did in front of other people? And
the CrossFit Open.
CrossFit Open.
Yeah.
And I saw that you had your kids there and they're watching you.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, dad's strong, and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think of that often because I'm reading Jeremy Renner's book right now. And he's the actor that got like ran over by a snowcat, like 14,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Crazy. But he starts the book off by his daughter saying it was a tough year. And she's writing a letter to like the school or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's a tough year, but my dad's the strongest person I know, and all those different things. And I think that is a big thing as well when you're thinking about your fitness journey, is like they're watching.
Yep.
And like I got like a kid's bench and like a kid's bike, things like that, just to like include them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And then all of a sudden, like he's on the bench with 3-pounders trying to things and
trying to emulate you, right?
Yeah. And it's really neat to see that. And I saw a video of you doing that at that CrossFit Open, and the kids are cheering you on and everything. I'm like, that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think I hope that as, my kids continue to get older and they see, Mallory and I like working out, that it becomes something that they want to do, that they want to emulate, and that it inspires them to know that they can push themselves probably further than they even think they can. Because the human mind is a powerful tool, but it's also a muscle. And in order to stretch it, I feel like you have to push, those boundaries a little bit to know that like, oh, wow, like I can do this, and I can lift more. I was going to touch on earlier, like that's the thing that like my wife right now, I love when she comes home and tells me I lifted this much weight today in class. And I'm like,
beautiful.
I love that. Like, that is like, I love that. Like, I think I smile from ear to ear. I think it's awesome that she's getting excited about that, because we even went on a walk earlier before we put the kids to bed. And she's like, I am the strongest that I feel like I've ever been. And I was like, you are. I was like, and you look fantastic. I was like, and I love you that you feel like this good, this great, And so that's just that. I mean, it's positive reinforcement, to being able to see that change even within yourself. So,
man, I was talking to a doctor buddy, and he did like Navy SEALs training for a day or a week. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But he said that at the beginning of it, people couldn't do a plank for like a minute, some of them. And then by the end of it, they were doing planks all together for an hour.
Yeah.
And like expanding your mind, and like you can do so much more.
Yeah.
And then even you say you start something at the beginning of the year, 2023, you mentioned, like, look at you now compared to 2023.
Yeah.
You're like, that's 2 years. That's crazy how much difference you can do.
Yeah. And I think that, like you touched on too, like thinking about that Navy SEAL workout that your doctor buddy did and, you know, a minute plank. But like when we do these Fit Dad workouts and I get to meet these other dads that come in, regardless of what fitness journey they're on, if they work out or do whatever, it's like, we are so lucky to have like a group of us there, you know, suffering in a positive way. Cause like you can look at the guy next to you and be like, gosh, he's pushing himself hard. Like, and the reason I love the group fitness classes is because going back to the teammate thing, I've always wanted to be a person that can like go up to a guy and be like, dude, that was awesome. Like you did a great workout. Like I literally make it a priority after every class that I'm in to go around and give everybody like a handshake or a high five to be like, dude, way to crush it today. Or, you know, because in the mornings at OPS or even at Fort Fitness, there's men and women, but it's like everybody's there for a common goal to get better. You know, they chose to come in to push themselves. And I was like, and that's admirable. Seriously. As small of a thing as they may think it is, like, I think it's awesome that somebody's there, like trying to, you know, just improve themselves and
it's just so much better to struggle with more than just yourself.
Yes.
Like if you're struggling by yourself, man, that's a hole you're digging, right? But if you're struggling with other people, and that's that workout or life in general. Like you got to be part of something, or else you're gonna be left alone and feeling alone. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great, guys. So I know that when we started and then we talk about, you know, having this shirt called Fit Dad, you know, and, you know, the word fit can be very intimidating, right? Especially when you're looking at somebody like Tyler, it can be very intimidating, right? When somebody is in a different part of the fitness journey. But what we said at the beginning is our faith, right? How it's important to us, and everything we do, we kind of tie it to our faith, right? So, and I know Tyler kind of mentioned that earlier is, you know, how you use your faith, you know, to help you with being a father. You know, how important is that for you, you know, for your family, to make sure your kids understand that, because that's what we're about, right? We're about faith, inclusion, and transparency, right? We kind of touch base about those two when they say that inclusion, that anybody is welcome. There's no such thing as that you have to have six packs to be part of that community. It's everybody, right? And in transparency, you guys talk about the accountability, even within you and your wife, right? It said that that's a healthy, you know, competition. Oh, I'm stronger. Oh, I might be stronger than you. I'm stronger, right? So that's where we got the accountability. And you talk about the group fitness, you know, we keep each other accountable. And also, but the most important thing is our purpose or why, right? And that's where the fifth part, you know, comes along. So how do you include that in your daily life, you know, your faith, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was very fortunate. I feel like, just, you know, the older you get and you look at your upbringing and your family and the things, the pillars that they put like in your life, like I was very blessed that my parents wanted to make sure that, you know, my sister and I knew Christ, and that we would go to church, and we would go to church on Sundays. We would pray as a family. We would go to, you know, Vacation Bible School or like Young Life, like in high school. I was a part of Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And I feel like just having that background, and then also just having the Holy Spirit in my life has always been something that even when things have been really tough in my life or my background, or I felt, you know, depressed or dealt with, you know, mental health or depression, or I've dealt with heartache, like God's always been there. Like even when I felt like he wasn't, like he is. And that is something that, like, even before I met, well, not before I met Mallory, but when I met my wife, like we talked about how we were actually going to raise a family even before we like talked about getting married. Like that was a big thing for us, like when we first met. And so we knew that like we wanted to raise like our children to know God. And so right now with I mean, they're so young, but we've made it like adamant that like every night before they go to bed, like we pray with them. And we try to make it every Sunday to church. I know we're not perfect in that at the moment with nap times and different things, but it's something that we want them to come to know God and know that, you know, like he died for all of us, you know, and that he died for our sins. And because that is something that I believe in my heart is going to just set them up for just so much more in life, is having that foundation. And so like right now, like we pray together. Like I said, we go to Pathway Community Church, and we've been so blessed too that even at Pathway Community, they have, you know, Kid City there for where we go to church, where we get to take them and they teach, you know, them about God and about Christianity. And we know that those people that are there and just the people that are surrounded in our circle are going to help raise, you know, our boys to know God too. And that's that's an important part of our lives right now with them. And hopefully it continues, you know, to cultivate and grow. So
man, that's so great. And just to add on to that, it's like things can come and go, people can come and go and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But you know that your faith's going to be there. I mean, even, you know, you go through like college and stuff, and for me at least, like there was no church, there was no like praying. I mean, you know, we were at Purdue University, you know, and you forget about it, and then all of a sudden you feel a little bit lost.
Yeah,
you know, and then all of a sudden you're like, why am I lost? And then I've had like a good streak going on of going to church. Like I think I'm like 6 weeks or something like that. But I feel good. The kids are coming with me, us and everything, and it feels good. So I appreciate that, man, you saying that.
Yeah, I think that's too another big reason why I wanted to kind of be challenged. Because one of my bosses or owners of MBM Properties, his name's Nate Norris. He's also my neighbor. He's a guy I really look up to. He's a very fit dad as well. I'm going to try to get him to come to a workout. But he challenged me or reached out to me several months ago about being like a young life leader at Pathway with college kids. And you hit the nail on the head, Billy, because like I feel like in my early 20s, I felt very lost, like as a man, and kind of slipped up a lot, like in my early 20s, even before I joined the military, because I joined when I was 25. But I'm putting myself now in those shoes of the college kids that we meet with and can relate on such a level where it's like, gosh, like having a strong, you know, foundation in Christ-centered life, even at that age, like in those pivotal years where you go to college and you're influenced by so many other people that you meet from across the country, and you're really trying to shape who you are as a man. Like that was the biggest reason why I wanted to get involved in that. And it kind of, you know, full circle reminded me of like, even when my mom and dad would be, you know, volunteer youth ministers for military families with kids for like their parents when they were on like a military installation, like when we were young, because I was an army brat and we moved around a lot, but they took that time too. And I just want to like, I'm hopeful that I have a positive, you know, influence on some of their lives, but I also want to, going back to even outside of fitness, like I want my boys to see me and my wife as being just like authentic people that can be there for others, you know, and bring people to know God or to just be good human beings, you know, like, and loving your neighbor as you love yourself, as the Bible says. It's like that's really the message that like we want to give to other people by being there for like our friends and family. So
well said, man.
Yeah, this is great because a lot of times, you know, a lot of things can sound like cliche, right? Mm-hmm. Love your neighbors like yourself, but do you actually do it, right? So, and I think what you're saying right now is to be authentic and then say that, okay, you know, I'm not just gonna say it just to say it because that's the way I was raised, even though I don't understand it, but I'm just gonna put it to work, which is this is the whole purpose, the whole why behind this community, right? Because when you think about it, as dads, we are called to be strong for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that, right? You want to lead by example. You want to be strong for your family. You want to be strong for your work. And a lot of times we don't have the outlet to be like, man, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
What do I do next? Who I can talk to, So, and I think that it's very important to us that, as we go into this community aspect of it, is how can we get the next generation ready, right? So how can we use what we learn, because I always say that, right? My father generation and my grandpa generation are all the same. They lead by example. They work hard and then they get it done, right? Yeah. And then what we learn from our generation, and there's a lot of things that we more involved, because obviously the technology and everything that's happening. So we want to be more involved in our kids' life, right? When I remember when I used to talk to my dad, it was more like transactional, right? Hey, you good? Yep, I'm good. Everything's good. School is good. Yep. It was like business talk. Yeah. But now when we look at it with our generation, we want to be more involved. We want to be more vulnerable. We want to show, hey, dad is strong, but sometimes dad is not that strong, right? Yeah. So, and then it's very important for us and to be the right teachers, right? And we're not perfect. We learning as we go. But that's what I see in this community is Fit Dad community. How can we help each other? How can we create this outlet for everybody to be vulnerable so they can come to Tyler and say, Tyler, I'm struggling with my fitness. How can you help me? Or I'm struggling with my faith. What are the things that you've done, that work for you? And, I can do the same. Because for me, just before I ask you the next question, Tyler, just for me, for instance, I remember I was actually he's one of Fit Dad community member, Jake Leonard, and I remember I went to a seminar and his rest in peace, his dad was the talker, right? And one of the things that he said, you know what? When I get in my car and I have my family in the car, before we leave, we pray together, right? And you kind of mentioned that. And, when he said that, it stuck with me. So when I have my kids, I was just like, I want to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So to the point that my kids keep me accountable. Like if I get in the car, we're in a hurry, and I'm trying to take them to school, I said, Dad, we need to pray before we leave. I was like, yep, you're right. Let's pray before we leave. So, but that's something that I learned from him. And I'm not saying, he just stuck with me. And I said, man, I want to do the same thing for my kids. So now that, Tyler, you've been part of this Fit Dad community. So what do you think this Fit Dad community, what kind of role is playing in your current, life right now? And how's it going to keep you accountable? Not just doing the podcast, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that for me, because I was thinking about that, because people have obviously come up to me and asked me, they're like, what's this Fit Dad thing about? Like, what do you guys do? Do you just like work out or like, and I'm like, no, it's actually more than that. Because, I kind of, I remember when we first had our first child, there was a lot of events going on. I think like with my wife, like they would do these mom walks like together, like they would, all these moms would get together, they would push their strollers with their babies, but it was kind of a similar concept, right? Like you'd have that community and that involvement. And so for here, like you said, I think it's very not common for guys to unpack like what's in their rucksack or their backpack. Like, hey, I'm dealing with this. Cause we have to be strong for everybody. We have to be strong for our wives, our employer, like our kids, but then who do we get to vent to, like I asked, we had a Young Life meeting with some of the college kids that came to our house like a couple weeks ago. And I just asked them, I was like, hey, do any of you by show of hands have somebody in your life that you can open up to, vent to? Like, do you have what we call in the military, like do you have a battle buddy? Do you have somebody that's always going to have your six, like somebody that's always going to be there for you? And some people raised their hands and some people didn't. And then I had a couple people, you know, that wanted to stay after with me and be like, hey, what is that like? Like, what is that like to have like that person? And I firmly want to be somebody that, you know, is available and authentic, like through this like Fit Dad community involvement, where it's more than just fitness for me. Like I really like to get to know people, like and dig deep and be like, you know, like, hey, like Carl, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. No, but like, how are you doing? Like how, like, you, like just scratching the surface, because like having those conversations with people, eventually people will open up. And I do feel like there's a lot of stuff that people in a healthy way can like open up and share about that they're dealing with. Cause I mean, me for personal experience, some people can hold all that in. I am not one of those people. Like I have to talk it out. I have to talk with, you know, other guys about it, or just be able to be real and say like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Like, have you ever dealt with this? Like what, like I'd love to get some feedback, you know, or some advice on like what I can do. Cause I think when you are vulnerable and can be humble, that you can't do it all like on your own, like you'd be surprised at how many people appreciate and respect that and are willing to like, you know, step in and be like, hey, like let's lift this guy up, let's help him out. Because that is, I mean, that's even something that I've tried to do with like a group of us that work out on a regular basis. Like we do, I know some people hate group chats, but I love group chats for whatever reason. Like your phone will probably always be on mute if you're in a group chat with me, because I will just be chirping it, saying like, hey, good workout today, or like, hope, hey, thinking about you guys, like, you know, cracking a joke. But I even think too, that is a good way to stay accountable with your buddies, and send them a positive reminder, just something that, you know, may even just be a different outlook that they could have like that day, to approach something in a completely different perspective. But
well, I think too, like, you know, just on that topic, it's like, you know, someone's thinking about you, so that helps them too. Like, oh, I'm doing a good job. The other thing that comes to mind is like with the young generation, even us, like you have these phones and it's a highlight reel for everybody. You're watching these influencers, you're watching all these people that you don't maybe even know, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I wish I could be that. I wish I could do that. All this stuff, and you're not even like communicating with them. That's someone. It's way different. So I love the aspect of having like group chats going and just like, you know, sending GIFs and all GIFs, whatever they're called. But it's fun and engaging, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what I've reminded, you know, myself too. It's like there's plenty of fitness influencers out there that'll say like, you know, you got to stay hard, you got to wake up, you got to do this every day, you know, make sure you're doing this, doing that. And then when you like think about it, it's like, okay, yeah, that's good advice, but that person's probably not married, has no kids, like maybe no job. Like, I don't know. It's like telling you, so it's
that's
like
their job. That's their job. Right?
I know, but some people can get really down on themselves, thinking like, oh, I'm not doing all these things. I'm not, you know. It's like, no, like if you're a dad and doing like if you're prioritizing your wife and your kids, you're winning. Like you're winning in life. You know what I mean? Like the other stuff is just added bonuses that you can like add into your life to make it more fulfilling and feel good about yourself. And like, that's where I think ultimately like this whole group and movement is trying to go, so that we can all be better men to help those around us, because it'll permeate into all aspects of your life. Like when you feel good about who you are, you're moving, you know, you can run with your kids, play with your kids, be fit, but also feel confident and have, you know, quality relationships with your spouse, your friends, your family, your coworkers. Like I firmly believe that like, since I've like taken my health under control, that has like changed my life completely. Not like my life was bad before, but it was foggy. You know what I mean? Like it was just not like, I didn't really have like a clear laser focus on like what I wanted and how I wanted to do it. And so I think that will lead to big things for people. But yeah, again, like if you're already loving your wife and kids and you love God and you're doing everything you possibly can, I think you're a winner in my book. So
you're on the right track. And hey, there's people out there that could even make you better than, you know. That's
and like you said, Carl, cliche, but the best room to be in is the room for improvement, you know.
No, you're absolutely right. And and that's one of the things that got Billy and I together, right? It's our love for the community, right?
Yeah.
So, full disclosure, a long time ago, I used to coach Billy in high school. But I'm just telling everybody I started young, right? I started coaching young, and then that was my thing. I played soccer all my life, and I was done with soccer, and I loved the game, and I was just like, man, how do I stay in the game? How do I stay in the game? I'm not gonna play professional. I'm not gonna play professional. How do I stay in the game? And Billy's dad gave me the opportunity to start coaching, and also one of my good friends, also like a brother to me, Carlos Cruz. He said, "Hey, I think you should coach, right?" And I'm telling you, coaching was the best thing that happened in my life.
Yeah.
Even from my career standpoint, I used to be very shy. Not shy, I was more like timid, right? And then by coaching, and I was just like, man, I'm a different person, because what you learn from coaching is you learn how to deal with different personalities, right? When I used to coach Billy, I know Billy is the kind of guy that you throw anything at him, he's gonna rise up to the occasion. But at the same time, you might have another kid that is all probably as good as Billy, but he probably react to it differently, when it comes to criticism, right? And you probably need to deal with that person differently. And what I learned in coaching, I take it to my work life. And I was just like, you know what? It's just like you said, it's like a team. Everybody got different personalities. You need to understand the personality. So to go back to the community aspect of it, and I think that's what we need to learn from our community, how we get to know our community to get better. And I think that's where, when we started the whole Fit That community together, Billy and I, that's what we were looking for, right? Is, yes, we have our own problems. So how can we help the next guy? How can we build that legacy, right? We want Fit That community. So for some people that are watching us that are not where we are, we're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we're throwing words like OPS, pathway.
Yeah.
We're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I know that we have audience all over the U.S. So we're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So just for people to know where exactly we are. So that's
Are you able to see how many people are watching right now? I don't even know how many people are watching.
Right now I see views, like we have 3 people. So, but it depends what kind of platform.
I got you.
So it could be on Instagram, it can be more, and Facebook. So, but when we get comments, so if you have some comments, if you like what Tyler is saying, please drop a comment, tell us how you like it, and so on. So anyway, to go back to the legacy thing, so Tyler, everything you said is great, especially when you have a family, right? And my dad used to tell me that, when you die, even though, man, we don't like that word, when you die, your family is gonna miss you. But how do you want your community to remember you? So when you're looking at that part of the legacy, how would you want this community, the community, to remember you?
That's a good question. I hope that people would remember me as being somebody that was kind and just always there. Like, just, you always, I joked around with somebody one time. I was like, man, like, if you ever died, like, you ever think about like what people would say at your funeral? Believe it or not, like, I think about those things sometimes, as morbid as it sounds, but I think it's something that you definitely want to leave a positive impact. But I would hope people would just remember me as an awesome person and somebody that was like genuine, like in their actions and their words, and somebody that cared, somebody that was loving. Like, as much as I tout myself as being a hard worker, like, that's not something that I would want people to remember me for. Like, that's a bonus, but like, I would hope that somebody would remember me for being kind and always present,
That's a great answer, man. Love that.
Yeah, this is great, man. And you are kind, and then you also, man. You're
all those things for sure, man.
Yeah, you're all those things, man.
Yeah. So, but no, I like, when you think of I think of my last name, like, when, like, as a legacy too. And like, I think about my dad a lot, and maybe he's watching, but he did not grow up with a father. And I remember growing up hearing that from my mom, and it was something that was so powerful because I didn't really appreciate it, I feel like, until I was really like in college, like where she would just always tell my sister and I that the one thing that he wanted to be was a good dad. Like, that's literally all he wanted, like, in life. And I think that I was so blessed to have that as an example, because he was at all my soccer practices.
He's watching you.
Is he? Yes,
yeah,
sir.
he said, "Yes, sir."
Yeah.
Oh, this is great, man. This is great. I love it.
Yeah, he was at all. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is what we're here for, man. It's okay. This is what we're here.
Yep. But he's an awesome example of what it. Sorry.
No,
you're good, man. You're good,
yep.
man.
He's an awesome example of what it means to be a dad, a friend, and I've been super blessed that he's still around, obviously, to be in our boys' lives as well. And I think that's, for me, when we found out that we were going to be parents and have boys, like, the first person that I hugged was him, because I was like, man, your name is being passed down, you know, and that was more moving for me than anything, to be able to share that moment with him, and to just know that, like, he's going to be a positive example in their lives as well. And that's ultimately what, like, I would want to give back to the community. You know what I mean? To be able to have those moments and that influence, and teach my boys the same thing that he taught me growing up. Yeah. So sorry, got a little emotional there.
No, Tyler. This is what it's about, and we appreciate your dad, because you know what, I can say that I know your dad through you.
Yep.
You know, I've never met him.
He's probably workouts. He loves to work out. He's him every morning too. So
yeah, I'll probably run into him because I'm there, every morning. But this is great. This is what it's about, right? It's we want to show those raw emotions, right? We're not actors. We're just regular people with real struggles, right?
Yeah.
So just like we said. So Billy, how you want to finish this?
Man, I'll tell you what. I was just thinking as you were saying all that. I was like, my son, and he literally came up to me. I don't know where we were, and he goes, "Dad, is that a fit dad?" And I'm like, no, no, I don't think he is, but he could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, seriously though, like, thanks for everybody for listening. This is really cool. What Carl texted me with this idea and starting a podcast for the community, and to build this community up, right? And we're here for everyone, anybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's about. We've mentioned that several times through this podcast. So you reach out to us. We're here. We all have each other's cell phones. We have group text going. We're in this together. We're stronger together is our motto. So thank you all for tuning in. But this was really cool, Tyler. I really appreciate you, man. Like, I've known you a while, but I learned so much from you tonight as well too. So I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, for being your first guest. So
this is great, and we're gonna keep. But Tyler, I want to ask you one question. So, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they get in contact with you? I know you mentioned about your job. You got a website or your Instagram handle.
Sure.
If people want. So you want to say it to the viewers?
Yeah, I'll plug where I work again. So I work for a custom home builder. If you are in need of a custom home, or you need a house, we'd love to talk to you. So I work for MBN Properties. You can go to our website at www.mymbn mbnhome.com. MBN stands for Must Be Nice. So you'll never forget that. So, or you can go to my social media. I'm KT Katie, Kilo Tango Charlie Alpha Delta Yankee, MBN on Instagram. So KT Katie MBN on Instagram, or I'm pretty open. I'm an open book. Like I said before, I want to be there for people. If you just want to like reach out and talk or work out, you can text me too at 260-409-4742. So I'm usually always at OPS or at Fort Fitness doing CrossFit workouts, sometimes 2 workouts a day. I'd love to work out with some of y'all and get some people that maybe are listening who I haven't met to come to some Fit Dad workouts. So
This is great.
Keep getting after it, brother.
yeah.
So Billy, I see you wearing a nice shirt. It's a Fit Dad on it. So where you get that shirt, Billy?
Hey, I got my kiddo coming here. Come here, bud. Look at that. We said we might have a kid come in. We got
100%.
Say hi, everybody. Say
Hi.
hi.
How are you?
How you doing?
Doing good? Yeah. Yeah. Fit Dad Apparel. You can go to Carl, did you change the website name though?
Yeah, it's www.fitdadcommunity.com. And we have a special tonight because with Tyler being our first guest. So if you go to our website and then you put Tyler 20, as of today, you get a 20% discount on this shirt, which is the Fit Dad Under Armour. So you go on the website. Also, we have a shop on Instagram. It's the same thing. So you go to the Under Armour, you get the 20% off. So because we celebrating Tyler tonight, so it's Tyler 20 as your discount. Put Tyler 20. Hey Tyler, it was fun, man. I can't wait for the next Fit Dad event.
Has it on her phone too?
Here we go.
Mom got it on her phone too.
I'm sure my wife's watching too. So
Yeah,
I love it.
I love it. So this is great. It was fun. I had a great time, and And Tyler, don't ever feel bad about being emotional.
oh yeah, no, you're
This
good.
is what we are, right? This is what we are. That's what we do. But this is great, and
Family's big to me, as it is to you guys too. So
yeah. So we love to have your dad. I know he mentioned that he wants to be part of the next workout. So let's get him there. And this is great, right? Grandpa, dads, uncles. We want everybody to be part of this community, right? We want everybody. And now, we got young Billy out here too in this community as well too.
nice.
All right. So thank you for tuning in tonight. It was great. We're going to keep doing this. And thanks for following us. So give us follow us on Instagram. We're on Instagram at Fit Dad Community. We also on Facebook at Fit Dad Community. And I kind of mentioned the website, which is www.fitdadcommunity.com. Also, we on Twitter also as well too. But yeah, we want to grow this community. And like I said earlier, we're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, but we want to go nationwide, right? Because I think we can help everybody in the world, right? So thank you, Tyler, for your time. Thank you, Billy, for your time. Appreciate you. So till next time, guys.
See you guys. Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl.
You know when you slip on an Under Armour Fit Dad tee, you just feel ready. Light, breezy, and totally on your game. Right now, grab yours with the Tyler 20 promo before Memorial Day wraps up. Seriously, don't wait around. Snag one before time's up and keep crushing it in and out of the gym.